Hello everybody, bonjour, my name's Garrett, and I'm continuing with our Tour de France, de Fromage Français, our Tour of France, of French cheese, with Mimolette. And this particular Mimolette is the Mimolette Vieille, as you can see here. It's old Mimolette, avec 12 mois d'affinage. This means it's been sitting somewhere for about a year before I got my hands on it at Aldi's for €3.49. And just to give you a bit of background, Mimolette is not an AOP or AOC fromage. It's not protected in a way that some other cheeses are. However, it's a very French cheese. Charles de Gaulle loved this cheese, for example. And it has its roots in the 1600s when King Louis XIV ordered the creation of a new cheese to compete against the Dutch cheese called Edam, which is quite popular. And the reason for this is under his reign with the finance minister Jean-Baptiste Colbert, they were creating a policy of economic nationalism called mercantilism. The idea is that you import as little as possible. You bring into the country as little as possible, and you make and sell as much as you can. The idea is you send stuff out into the world, and then gold and silver come back into the treasury, and you fill your coffers. This was important because in 16th and 17th century France, you see a lot of conflicts regarding the borders of France as they slowly evolved to the point to where you see them today. For example, there were battles and a siege in Lille in the north, also in Charleroi, which is now Belgium. So there was a lot of conflict, and the idea was to make French things and thus help France. So this particular cheese, it comes from that time in the 1600s. It's a northern French cheese, meaning it's normally found in this region of France where I'm currently studying, literally in that pocket between the Channel and Belgium in the far northeast. And the Mimolette, as you see, is a hard cheese, and it gets its orange color from being originally made to have carrot juice as a colorant to distinguish it from other cheeses. Actually, now the colorant is amaretto. And if you look at the back, you'll see it here. It says Norbicine de Roucou. That's French for amaretto, which is actually the tropical fruit. So it's the tropical fruit that's actually giving the color to this cheese. And the crust is particular because the cheese is actually aged with mites, and the longer this sits, the more the crust gets this distinctive shape, and the more the color goes from orange to almost a golden brown. And in addition, normally this cheese is sort of in the shape of a flattened ball, and the actual name Mimolette, it comes from the mallow, which is basically your calves, because they're flexible. And at the beginning of the production of this cheese, it's a flexible cheese. So there you have it about Mimolette, and a bit about this particular cheese as well is that it's made by Issy-Mont-Mer, which is a well-known French milk cooperative. It's actually Normandy. Again, this is why this isn't an AOC or AOP cheese. Like, the milk does not come from the region of the north, even though it's considered to be a northern cheese. You confirm that looking at the sanitary marking. It's marked FR for France, 50 for La Manche, which is basically, again, this region around the Cherbourg-Contine area of Normandy, near the Utah D-Day beach. And the numbers actually give the commune of Chef Dupont, which is, again, that area near the Utah beach. So I'm going to cut this cheese open, and then we'll taste it, and I'll let you know what I think. So I've cut open our Mimolette. As you can see here, the crust. I mean, it's a very distinctive crust, and that's made by a carrion called flour mites, and this is why it's prohibited in the United States. The U.S. FDA has decided that this cheese is not eligible for export because of the presence of those mites in the production of the cheese and the chance that they may be in cheese when it's imported. And then here you see the very distinctive color. It's like this amber orange brown color, and it's just it's like very strong cheddar in a way. And actually, the colorant amaretto is the same thing that you'll find in Colby cheese in the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and cut myself a piece here. and I'll let you know what I think. And to your question, no, I'm gonna cut a piece here with the crust, but I'm not actually gonna eat it. I'm gonna set it off to the side. I think you can eat it, but I'm not a fan of mites. So here we go. As you can see, it's a fairly hard cheese, although the longer it's aged, it starts to get a crumbly texture. It tastes a lot like an aged cheddar. It really tastes a lot like an aged cheddar, and it's not as strong per se, except for the fact that it has a nutty flavor. It's been sitting somewhere for a year. The moisture in this cheese has had time to evaporate, and so you get this hard cheese that gets a more pronounced nutty flavor the longer it sits. And the other thing to note is that this cheese has been sitting somewhere for a year. You also have Mimolette extra Vieille, which means that they have been sitting for 2 years. And I've seen longer in some instances, but in that case, the nutty flavor just gets even more pronounced. But it's a good cheese, you know? It's, I recommend it if you find your way to France, and you can find it in most supermarkets, and it particularly some things you'll find here in the north. So thank you very much for your attention, everybody. If you found this interesting, please feel free to subscribe. I can provide a lot more content like this. I'm well placed to do that. I've been living in France for quite a while. And stay tuned for the next cheese, which will be a surprise. Thank you very much. Cheers.